What do you expect to accomplish by doing an interview like this?
Well, for people to be informed about the circumstances surrounding my case and the facts of the evidence in my case, instead of what people have been misled to believe by the prosecuting attorney.
By all accounts, you shouldn't be sitting here with me. You had a scheduled execution date for June 17th of 2009. Why do you think you're still here?
I've asked myself that question a lot, and I think it's because, well, no, I know it's because God gave somebody somewhere in a position to make something happen, open up some type of review, make them take pause and listen and pay attention to the evidence in the case.
2 innocent women died nearly 20 years ago. Why shouldn't you die?
Because I didn't kill anybody and I'm not guilty. I don't deserve to be executed for a crime I didn't commit.
Let's go back to the details of this case. The story is that you and 3 others beat, raped, and pushed Julie and Robin Kerry off a bridge 70 feet into the river. What's your side of the story?
Me and my 3 co-defendants were up on the bridge, and we were hanging out and looking at the graffiti. We had a flashlight with us. But a lot of people got a misconceived notion like we snatched them up off the street and drugged them up on the bridge. And that's not the case. We weren't up there together. And as we were walking back towards the Missouri side of the bridge, that's when we came across them and talked to them. And we introduced ourselves. We talked about different events that have taken place on the bridge. Like it was a movie filmed up there. There was people have parties up there sometime, and people spray paint things up there, and just sometimes people climb up under the bridge and hang out up under the bridge. And then we talked about where we were from and where we lived and everything. And after we had that friendly conversation with them.
The 4 of you and the 2 girls.
The 2 girls with Thomas Clemons, yes. We were leaving and they were arriving at the bridge, and we talked to them for a while. And then we started leaving. And Marlon and Danny were riding in the same car. Me and Tony were riding in the same car. And as we were leaving, they had to wait for us. I had to wait on Tony because he's riding with me. And he's hanging back looking for the flashlight and everything, and I'm kind of trying to get him to come on and let's go, because we had already looked for the flashlight for about a half hour. And I just went ahead and walked off the bridge and left him up there looking for the flashlight, hoping me leaving would kind of egg him on to come on and let's go. And as far as me personally, that's all I know about what might have happened up there. The rest I've had to try to figure out and piecemeal together over the years.
And you have said that you've been innocent in all the time that you've been there. You've never confessed to the actual murder.
Well,
is that correct?
I did confess under duress.
Why would you confess to a crime you didn't commit?
I confessed because I was being beaten. And I knew the only way that I'd get up out that police station is if I confessed to something. And after 7 hours, I was teeter-tottering on consciousness. And it's like, do I allow myself to pass out while they beating the mess out of me and end up beating me to death? Or what do I do? And I had asked for a phone call, I had asked for a lawyer, I even had asked for a priest, and none of that would help. None of that. They just, they wanted a confession. So I figured if I confessed to rape, they got to prove that.
Was there any physical evidence linking you to the death of Robin and Julie Kerry?
No.
No DNA?
No DNA.
No fingerprints?
No fingerprints.
No fiber samples? No clothing, anything that would link you to these deaths?
Nothing.
How then were you convicted?
Based on the confession that the police beat out of me. And my co-defendant, Daniel Winfrey, turned states and testified for the state for a 30-year deal. And he...
This was a 15-year-old white
yes.
co-defendant?
Yes.
Do you see that there's some racism in your case?
The prosecutor uses the rape, just like racism, to charge the passions of the public, to turn it into a racial issue. One of my co-defendants are white. So how can it be a racially motivated attack? But again, that's something that the prosecutor tries to do, well, this particular prosecutor, because the man got issues. But anyway, he just do. I'm saying he wants to win at every call, at all costs, and he'll do.
Doesn't every prosecutor?
No, I've heard about some prosecutors that actually want to convict guilty people and help innocent people prove their innocence.
How many men do you know in prison who claim that they are innocent?
I'd say it ranged probably from 10 to 15%.
So what makes your story any different from theirs?
Without the racial issue, I can prove my innocence based on the facts.
Some people don't buy it. Your story is that when you left that night, you did not know that Robin and Julie had been thrown into the river.
Right.
You didn't know that they had died in that river.
No.
So that night when you slept pretty well, having no thought that someone had...
I didn't have any reason not to.
If you could change anything about that night, what would it be?
I've thought about that a lot, but it's like, what could I change? I'm saying, what, either not leaving the bridge and hanging around, or just leaving a little bit earlier so that we wouldn't cross paths with them. I don't know.
What, if anything, do you feel for the family of Julie and Robin Kerry?
There's a lot of thoughts and feelings there that I've gone over the years, because I see victims' families on TV and how they feel and the pain that they're going through. And I've talked to and communicated with the family members of individuals that have been executed. So I don't want to minimize their loss by any way saying that I understand their loss. I do know, and after finding out more about Robin and Julie Kerry since that night, that the world would be a better place with them than it is without them.
I understand you had no prior criminal record before this case. Would you describe yourself as a pretty good youth?
Yeah. Helpful and putting others before myself as much as I possibly could, hardworking.
If you were such a good kid, as you say, what are you doing on the bridge at midnight smoking weed with 3 other people?
I was off work for the rest of the night, and I didn't have anything that I needed to turn in as far as any college exams or anything to plan for, anything like that. So I just figured, why not just go hang out and take a breather for a minute?
Nearly 4 years ago, this month, Marlon Gray was executed in this case. What did you feel when you heard that he had been executed?
Well, I figured now that they've killed him, they're going to definitely make sure they kill me, whether I'm guilty or not, because to give me a chance to prove my innocence opens the door to proving that they've executed an innocent man.
Did you cry?
Well, yeah, of course.
Did you cry for yourself, or did you cry for Marlon Gray?
I cried for him, and I cried for the things that his family was going through, and I cried for the fact of I'd never see him again, and how much this case had took from him, his family, and from his life.
What's the status of your case right now?
I've been through all my appeals, and that's how an execution date got set.
Okay.
And right now, the case, my execution is being held up based on flaws in the lethal injection process. And also,
so it has nothing really to do with your case?
Well, that's what the first state came down on. That's what first stopped me from being executed in the first place. And then a little bit later, another ruling came down for the case to be reopened and re-reviewed.
By this special?
By this special master judge out of Kansas City.
How has this changed the lives of your parents and your family?
Dramatically. And that's what I find strange is it makes me want to cry more when I think about what they're going through, being worried about me, than what could possibly happen to me in this case and what I've been through in this case. My mother's worked tirelessly to help me prove my innocence.
Danny Glover, actor, is one of your supporters as well. When is the last time you spoke with him?